آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Just before I begin, I just wanted to thank Sheikh Khalid, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal preserve his efforts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal bless him and his family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal use him as a means of hidayah for this community. And I've always been very pleased with the effort that he has made in this community since he has been here to try and bring all the community together. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal keep him with us for many, many years, inshallah. So, the title of my discussion is the Qur'an, the ultimate blue zone. And you may wonder, what is the meaning, or why did I choose this title, the ultimate blue zone? Now, blue zones, there were some researchers who found that, and they printed this up in the year 2004, that there are places in the world, and these places in the world, people often will live in these places for more than 100 years. So they tried to figure out what were the common characteristics between these people. Now you may be wondering why I'm calling this, the Qur'an, the ultimate blue zone. Inshallah, I'll try and put it all together and connect the dots, inshallah, for you. So, if we look at the blue zones that exist in the world, that the researchers have found that people live generally more than 100 years, or they have a high likelihood of living for more than 100 years. You may be surprised, but Italy, there's a place called Sardinia in Italy. There's a place in Japan, Okinawa. And in fact, the people who live the longest in the world are thought to live in Okinawa. Also, in the United States, California, there's a place called Loma Linda. And there's a group of religious, it's like a sect of Christianity. They're called the Seventh-day Adventists. They also often will live to 100 years. And in Costa Rica, and also Greece, in a place called Icaria. It is said in that place in Greece, 1 in 3 people will live for more than 90 years. Now, since obviously we're Canadians, are there any blue zones in Canada? Well, it is thought that there is a blue zone in Canada also. And that's in Nova Scotia, southern Nova Scotia. And these people often will live into their 90s and up to their 100th year. So it is found in these people in these blue zones that they have lower rates of cancer. There are lower rates of heart disease. There are very low rates of things like dementia. What I mean by that are diseases like Alzheimer's disease, which you may be familiar with. So, if you look at these people, what are the common characteristics? Because I'm sure that everybody is thinking about this, that these people, okay, they live for 100 years or more. What are the characteristics that they have? What are the common traits which they all have? So what the researchers have found is that they basically have a few common characteristics. One is that for all of these people, their number one priority, one of their number one priorities is their family. They put a high stress on their family, keeping their families together, keeping their families close, and even their near relatives. The other factor which these places have, these blue zones, are that these people, they don't smoke. Another common characteristic which they have is that their diets are plant-based, and inshallah as we go through these Quranic foods, inshallah I'll try to tie that in. characteristic which they have is that they're always moving, constant exercise, moderate physical activity. The other common characteristic is that they try and socialize. And subhanAllah, as a believer, as a Muslim, what is the best way of socialization? Alhamdulillah, you come to the masjid and you socialize with everybody. Subhanallah. And the other characteristic is that they eat legumes, just very, like pumpkin and things like this. And the other common characteristic which they have is that they never eat till they're full, till they're completely full. So, as a medical doctor, every medical doctor, when they give advice to patients, people who come in, they're always thinking about something called the food pyramid. And the food pyramid is a general structure in which you advise a person as to what they should eat. And this is, of course, the most recent Canada Food Guide also follows this. So, in this food pyramid, you see that most of the foods that a person should eat are bread, cereals, rice, pasta. Then you look at fruits, and then as you go up the pyramid, as you go up, it indicates that you eat less of that particular type of food. At the top of it, you look at fats and oils, and that basically you should stay away from. So, the latest recommendations for medical doctors, I'm talking from February and March of 2010, in terms of what type of diet a human being should eat. And this comes from UpToDate for medical doctors in the US and in Canada. And the most recent recommendations about the types of food that you should eat, firstly, is that they talk about the importance of fruits and vegetables. And in fact, increasing the amount of fruits and vegetables a person eats is inversely related, meaning that the more that you eat, the less chances you will have to get things like coronary artery disease, which is heart disease. And that the more fruits and vegetables you eat, there's a lower risk of strokes. Strokes are when you get jalta damawiyya in the brain. So the risk is thought to be, the lowering of the risk is thought to be optimal when you eat more than 3 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. Now the lowest risk are with what are called cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, green leafy vegetables, so like spinach and things like that, citrus fruits, vitamin C rich fruits and vegetables. So what's found, or what is thought, is that when a human being eats vegetables, that what happens is that some components of these vegetables, of these plants, they join with some bacteria in the stomach, in the intestines. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla has given the rizq to these bacteria, the food for these bacteria from these plants also. So they get some rizq. But what happens is that when these bacteria try to digest these plants, that it releases a certain component, and this component is called enterolactone. And all that means, it's just something, it's a kind of marker which we see in the bloodstream of a human being who eats a lot of vegetables and fruits. Now, it is found that people who have a propensity to get heart attacks or who have had heart attacks, that the enterolactone, this marker, is actually decreased. And that people who have more enterolactone, they have a lower risk of heart disease. What are the benefits of the fruits and vegetables? It is thought it has to do with the actual folic acid